If you've spent any time exploring topics like tarot, meditation, witchcraft, religion, occultism, or personal growth, you've probably heard the word spirituality countless times. But what does spirituality actually mean? It's a word that is used so often that sometimes we forget to ask what it really represents. The truth is that spirituality means different things to different people. For some, spirituality is deeply connected to religion. For others, spirituality exists completely outside of religious traditions. Some people find spirituality in churches, temples, and sacred texts. Others find it while walking through a forest, looking at the stars, creating art, listening to music, or simply sitting quietly with their thoughts. Because spirituality is such a personal experience, there is no single definition that everyone agrees on. However, most forms of spirituality share a common theme: the search for meaning, connection, and understanding. It is the desire to look beyond the surface of everyday life and ask deeper questions. Questions like, who am I? Why am I here? What gives my life meaning? What happens after death? How am I connected to other people, nature, or the universe itself? These are questions that humanity has been asking for thousands of years. And while different cultures and traditions have offered different answers, the questions themselves remain remarkably similar. Many people think spirituality is about having answers, but in reality, spirituality often begins with questions. A person may start exploring spirituality because they experience loss, wonder, curiosity, or a feeling that there is more to life than what they currently understand. Others begin because they feel disconnected and are searching for a deeper sense of purpose. Some are drawn to spirituality after a powerful dream, a meaningful coincidence, a personal crisis, or an experience that challenges their understanding of reality. For many people, spirituality begins not with certainty, but with curiosity. One common misconception is that spirituality requires special tools or practices. When people hear the word spirituality, they often think of candles, crystals, tarot cards, meditation, rituals, or sacred symbols. While these can certainly be part of a spiritual path, they are not spirituality itself. They are tools. A paintbrush is not art. A musical instrument is not music. In the same way, a tarot deck is not spirituality. The spiritual aspect comes from how a person uses these tools to explore themselves and the world around them. Someone can own dozens of tarot decks and never engage in meaningful self-reflection. Another person may never touch a tarot card and still live a deeply spiritual life. Spirituality can also be found in ordinary moments. In today's world, we often imagine that spirituality only exists during rituals, ceremonies, or special experiences. But many traditions teach that the sacred can be found in everyday life. It can be found in caring for a loved one, in helping someone who needs support, in creating something beautiful, in taking responsibility for your actions, in spending time in nature, in learning to understand yourself more honestly. Sometimes the most spiritual moments are the simplest ones. Moments when we are fully present and aware of the life unfolding around us. Another important aspect of spirituality is self-discovery. Many spiritual traditions encourage us to look inward as well as outward, to examine our fears, our desires, our strengths, our weaknesses, our beliefs. This process is not always comfortable. Sometimes spirituality reveals things about ourselves that we would rather ignore. It may challenge old assumptions. It may force us to confront habits, fears, or patterns that no longer serve us. But through that process, many people develop greater self-awareness and personal growth. Spirituality can also change how we relate to other people. A deeper spiritual perspective often encourages qualities such as compassion, patience, gratitude, and understanding. Not because someone is trying to be perfect, but because they begin to recognize the connections that exist between themselves and others. Different spiritual traditions may express this idea in different ways. Some speak of divine unity. Others speak of interconnectedness. Others focus on empathy and shared human experience. But many arrive at a similar conclusion. Our actions affect more than just ourselves. At the same time, spirituality does not require everyone to believe the same thing. Two people can both consider themselves spiritual while having completely different beliefs about the nature of reality. One person may believe in gods and spirits. Another may focus on psychology and personal growth. Another may feel connected to nature. Another may follow a religious tradition. Spirituality is often less about reaching identical conclusions and more about engaging sincerely with life's deeper questions. Perhaps the most important thing to understand is that spirituality is not a destination. It is a journey. Most people do not wake up one day with all the answers. Instead, spirituality often involves continual learning, questioning, growing, and exploring. Our beliefs may evolve over time. Our understanding may deepen. The questions we ask may change, and that is perfectly normal. In the end, spirituality is not necessarily about finding all the answers. It is about developing a deeper relationship with yourself, with others, with nature, with the mysteries of existence, and with whatever you believe lies beyond the visible world. Whether that path leads through religion, philosophy, meditation, art, nature, magic, or personal reflection, the journey is ultimately your own. And perhaps the most spiritual thing we can do is remain curious enough to keep exploring. What does spirituality mean to you? Is it connected to religion, nature, personal growth, magic, or something entirely different? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments.